the the independent lifestyle specifically is about taking full control over your life, because it's, so many people are dependent on their jobs, the government, like the list could go on. And the fact is that none of those things are going to save you. The only thing that can save you is taking responsibility for yourself and taking control of your money, your income, your family, health, life. It's more than just being a digital nomad, which is why we coined the independent lifestyle, because I don't necessarily think that the nomadic lifestyle is for everyone, but I do think that in today's day and age, with where the world is at, it couldn't be any more important to take control of the entirety of your life, because if you don't have control of it, then that means somebody else has control of it.
Exactly.
So,
I couldn't agree more with that, because it really, we were stuck in those. We might be digital nomads now. But to go back, 7-8 years now, maybe a little bit longer depending on when you're watching this video, and we were 100% location dependent people. We needed to have a job in a place that we could go to make our money. I was a chef for almost 20 years, and Sarah she was in the front of the house, bartending, serving, and that's how our story actually started. That's how we met. I was the chef, and Sarah got a job working at the one restaurant that I was working at.
Yeah.
And from there, it took us on this crazy journey. I mean, for the longest time, I struggled. I didn't know. I loved to cook, but I hated the hospitality industry. It wasn't what life was supposed to be for me in my mind, because there was so much more out there. But I struggled every day because there was no independence for me. It was, if I didn't like my current job and I was unhappy, I would just go find another one, and that would be okay for a short period of time. But then, well, guess what? That wore off real quick, and the longer it went on, the quicker it wore off real quick.
Right, like same. But I think the difference is too, and what enabled us to even start, is while we were working on jobs. Like when I met you, Paul had already been working on a lot of skills. He was a photographer. He had a studio set up in his house.
Let's not go that far. I was an amateur playing around with my camera and had a good time with it. But yes,
you did take in income, and you did run a side hobby, and
very small, but I did. Yes.
Yeah, but you had skills that you were learning outside of your job. You also knew how to.
I was forced to learn how to build a website because I was
going to say though,
I was too cheap.
When I met you, you had already had your own website. You were working on graphics design.
That's right.
You were working on all of these other skills.
And the most part, it was for fun. Like, this was my hobby. Let's be honest. At the beginning, it was a hobby that turned into a small secondary income that was very sporadic, but it was true. But I didn't know that those skills were going to be the thing that allowed me to exit from the mind-numbing work that I was doing. And believe you me, we understand, if you're in that position, how you feel, because I felt stuck and we didn't know where to go.
It was the same for me as a bartender. Like, I was working a bartender. Unlike him, I actually really loved my job. I loved doing it. Also, it had to be for the right place, and so if a job turned out not to be so great, I'd just hop jobs like it was nobody's business. But on the side, for, I don't know, a good decade probably before I met you, I was on the forefront of learning internet marketing and the whole thing that went along with that. But neither of us were making serious income off of what we had done. Mostly we were just relying on our jobs and going for it. And then the difference came when I got pregnant, really, with our first daughter.
Yep.
And so none of where we are today started because of, what do I want to say? Like, we didn't set out to be digital nomads or even be running our own business. Our number one goal was, firstly, it was because I was going to be losing all the income. When you work on minimum wage and rely on cash, that's awesome until you have to go on maternity leave and all your money is gone, and we have a chef's income. And he was like, what are we going to do? And so he ended up finding a job as see, we are telling our story, and I didn't even mean to tell our story,
because this is how it all began, and this is where it really does. It was a couple different things, because the first part happened, we were helping your mom find a place to live on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And in that process, the real estate agent that we were dealing with was like, oh, you do photography? Yeah. Well, my buddy who does real estate photography really needs a hand. So here's his number. And, this is the place in time where I stopped saying no. Because that was the number one thing that always stopped and held me back, was saying no to opportunities, not knowing if I had the ability, the talent, the skill to do them. So basically we said, yeah. I called up Sean. If you're out there watching, buddy, owe it all to you still these days. But basically it came down to a simple thing of saying yes to an opportunity and learning what I had to do after. So I did have the equipment, which was nice. It wasn't a lot of expensive stuff that I needed, but I did have the things that I need to take on that role. And it very quickly, while I was working, became an after hours and a weekend. So I was still working my full-time job, but we were picking up part work.
Right. And
right?
But so like the goal, and probably the reason that he did say yes, was because like, wow, like as extra income is really going to help us out right now. Yep. And it really did. It
really did. It made it saved us, basically. It really saved us from losing a house, losing our, like,
right.
It really made a difference in where we were. And that was the godsend, because it was probably a year and a half later. I think we had just gone through Easter weekend and we were pregnant with our second child at this time.
Yes.
And we had gone to Easter weekend with Grandma, and we had announced that number 2 was on the way, and that Juliana was going to be a big sister. And I went back into work on Monday, and all of a sudden everybody's like, yeah, there's a meeting in the Grand Ballroom. I was working at a private club as the sous chef, and basically they sat us all down and said that we no longer had jobs, of no fault of our own, but there was restructuring in the club, and
they cut the whole department.
They cut pretty much every hospitality person that was working there, so everybody was in the same boat. But that led us into this opportunity where I was then able to take on the photography full time with.
Can I interrupt?
Of course you can.
It really, okay, it did go that way. He lost his job. And then it was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So immediately though, it was the same thing you normally would do. I'm going to go look for another chef job.
Oh, I probably put out 40, 50 resumes and got the same piddly job offers of less money than I could ever work for.
Right. It was actually brutal, and it's just like, you can't do this. But he still had the photography job, and it was the right time of year for that, and so he ended up going full time for that. And I would say what happened by the end of the summer was our biggest learning lesson of all. And like the most important part of his taking that job, what you have to understand is that you were then working as a contractor.
Yes.
Okay. So all the money he went in, when you work for yourself, you don't have taxes taken off. Yes? You're taking all of your income in.
Obviously this varies depending on what country you're from, but we're in Canada, and that's,
well, we're in Mexico.
We're in Mexico right now, but where in Canada we get to take 100% of our income, and
that goes for anyone.
Yeah, it does go for anybody. Different countries have different
it's not
taxes.
That you don't pay taxes. You're paying taxes, but you're in control of the whole amount of your money.
Yes.
Okay, and taxes come after. Then there's a whole business side of it, but the important point of this is that by the end of the summer, we realized that in fact he was making way more money
Yep.
working part-time as an independent contractor than he ever could have made as a chef.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So that was like the big whoa. So even though we'd been working side hustles and doing all these things, we didn't actually understand the whole business part of it and what happens when you take control of your income, which happened due to, you know, loss. I know a lot of people today are in that boat. We're living in a crazy world where nothing is secure, no one is secure, and that this is why we're out here teaching the independent lifestyle, because it is a matter of, it shifted our mindset from a traditional employment,
Very much so.
right, from working in the traditional way to learning how to make independent income in operating a business, which totally was the game changer. That's okay. Kids in the background.
Kids
That's
are in the
gonna happen.
background, so if you guys hear noises around, it's because we're in Mexico. We're on the rooftop
Mm-hmm.
patio. It's a beautiful evening, so this is where we thought it would be a great place to film the video tonight.
We actually had no idea how this video was going to come out. We just we're like, hey, we're starting. And
So, right, like this is the, like I always struggled about the fact too of running a business. I always thought it was going to be very difficult to do. A lot of time, money, effort, energy to go into. But when you're taking something as simple as a hobby that you may make a little bit of cash from, or a skill that you were able to sell somebody as a little bit of, maybe you did some graphic design or you're into woodworking or anything, there's always something that can very easily be transferred and to take your mind from that traditional employment to that independent income. Because once you understand and see,
Yeah.
like, holy cow, when you're not losing half a paycheck to the government, right, to the Canadian, the whatever country you're in, when they take most of your money just because you worked hard,
the harder you work, the more they take away.
it makes no sense. Because as a business person, like,
Yeah.
now you get the sense of, oh, the harder I work, the more money I make, the more I keep,
Right.
because you're allowed to have expenses and write things off.
Right.
And it just,
As
it's
a
a
business,
total different mindset.
It's not, and it's a total different mindset and a total different ball game, because when you're operating as an independent business, you have completely different rules for taxation than what you do as an employee. And most people are like, hey, that's like way too complex.
Yep.
Oh no, it's not. And the best thing is that doing this when you already have a job, okay, is the key. Because then you give yourself time to build up, learn how to operate. Because it's like, do you have to learn stuff?
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Does it require like more effort because you have to do stuff like outside of your job, or maybe you're in a, well, I mean, no, you worked it with your job. The whole thing about it is that you're going to have to learn how to think differently, okay?
Yep.
And how you earn is different, because like, it's like, no, I don't want to quite get into You Inc. yet. I think that should be a second part. The whole thing right now is to understand that if you're trying to work life in the traditional sense that we've been taught, okay, you go to school, you go to more school for higher education, you get the job, you work the corporate ladder, you do this, you do this, you do this. And I feel like I'm looking outside at so many people angry, upset, there's not enough money, the government is failing us, it's all this, that. And I feel like so long as you're trying to work within the parameters that we were taught to do, it's going to keep failing you, right? Because you do have to entirely step outside of that paradigm, okay, and be like, I'm gonna actually do things my way. And what I'm pointing for the independent lifestyle is like, go your own way, because that's what we've done. It's just like, you know, my family, friends, this, you know what, like, middle finger to you, we're doing our own thing, and that's the way it is. And because we've made those decisions, and because we've chosen to work for ourselves and keep going and not giving up, our life is like so different. We couldn't freaking imagine where we are today, like not that many years ago. It's just like, and we still have even more to go and even more to go, because you start setting different goals, and by opening yourself up and being like, oh my God, like this is it, and you start winning, and you're like, man, it changes the game.
Yep.
But it's not gonna like doing life the way we've been taught. No.
No, it goes back to the old saying, right? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is the pure definition of insanity, and it is.
It is. And the whole reason I'm teaching this is because I feel like everyone is looking for the way, the magic bullet. I need to make my 10 grand a month. Okay, I started that way, okay? And everyone thought I was crazy back in the way early 2000s when internet marketing was just like, I'm going to make my 10K a month. And it like wasn't happening. And you guys probably watch all kinds of millionaires out there too, and they're trying to teach you this or teach you that, or it's this strategy, or it's this business, or this network marketing. And it's like, actually, no one is breaking down just simple business and taking the skills that you have and turning it into income. Because when you're going to go get a job, you're selling yourself, you're selling your skills. What if instead of selling it to a job, your boss, you sold it for other businesses as an independent and chose what kind of money you were making and the people that you work for? Like, it's a total game changer. And I'm telling you that I did not understand any of this. And till today, I still don't see anyone teaching it. And that's why we're like, you know what? Frig it. Like, no one's teaching this to the people. We're going to teach it to the people. Like,
we see it all the time, and all the other nomad, like, you can start going and asking all these other groups of nomads and YouTube people who are out there traveling and doing their stuff and working on the road, and you read through their comments, and people ask all the time, well, how did you do it? How did you do it? How'd you do it? And it's like nobody answers it.
Yes.
So that's
like
what we're here for.
Secret. And we've even had people be like, well, what do you do? It's funny because what he actually does, if we started explaining it to you, most people give us a blank stare, because he works in very high level marketing with email systems and automations, like crazy stuff that most people don't understand. And they think it's like, it's not actually that we don't want to tell you what we do. It's just that these were the particular skill sets actually that have taken years of growth. It started with him taking an independent job from being a photographer and learning specific skills to do real estate photography. And we branched out from there, and we have a whole story, and I really want to go into more of it. But the main thing that I want to introduce is like, what is an independent lifestyle? Because the independent lifestyle is really just taking control of your life, and whether or not you want to be a digital nomad or whatever, I think we all want to choose what we do with our time, who we spend it with, where we go, what we do, and like, you should be able to do that, and there's just nothing stopping you. It's just that no one is teaching you that you already have what you need. Like, and that's the thing too. You have what you need right now, because if you can read, write, use a computer, and you got any kind of skills, you're golden. It's just that no one is teaching you the baby steps and
how
learning
to make
how
that
to
first $1, how to make the first $100, how to make the first $1,000 a month. Like, we're not here trying to make you a millionaire. We're trying to make you $1,000 a month. Like, that's the first goal. It's like, what would that extra $1,000 a month mean to you at the end of the month? And if it was something that was as simple as selling simple skills that you already know, like, that's what it comes down to.
And people make business seem like so complicated. It takes money to make money. Well, you can't have a business unless you do this and unless. So, like, also, just as people, like how you've got to look outside the traditional employment system and everywhere we've been taught, we also have to look outside this traditional business landscape, because the way it's being taught is just not what it has to be. Not
physical
everybody.
Businesses.
Physical
right.
business,
Oh, you got to get a shop. You got to have a product. You got to
no. And the best way to actually get there, if that's what you would eventually want to be able to do, would be like learning these skills on a very small level, just with the skills you have that you can sell and learn that game of business. And then you grow and you add and you keep learning, and then it changes. And I think the other thing too is that you never know where it's going to take you, right? Because you have like one thought in your mind and you can't really understand how you're going to get there. Like we could not look at each other and be like, oh, we're doing this so that we can be digital nomads. Nope.
We did this.
Totally was not how it happened.
Right. We did this for this. This really started for the simple thing that we never wanted our kids to be in daycare.
So
we never wanted them to be alone. We never wanted, and we were working to the
we made
point
crazy sacrifices
where we never
too.
saw each other.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, what this all comes down to, guys, is teaching you how to take control of your time, your money, and your life.
Right.
Because I would rather spend my days with Sarah and the kids, and of course the pets too. Can't forget the pets.
Can't forget the pets.
But I would rather spend my 8 hours, 10 hours a day that I used to spend in a sweaty hot kitchen hanging out with the family. It comes down to being as simple as that. It's where do you want to spend the majority of your time, and making the money comes from that. We invite you to like, follow, share, anything that you need to do, tweet, TikTok, Instagram us. We're going to be all over the place with our stuff. We're going to be teaching all kinds of different skills. We're going to be teaching all kinds of different valuable life lessons, skills. I'm going to be breaking into some of the crazy stuff that I do. A lot of it's AI based now, so I know a lot of people don't really understand the AI, but we're going to really try to help to give you guys a foundation, a good base to build from, so that you can take your independent lifestyle and go your own way. It might be as simple like our friend who built a cabin with her husband in the woods, and that's where they live and work now. Or friends that travel all around North America in RVs, or others who are sailing the world. You might have those dreams and goals. You might not. You might just not want to have to go into your damn job anymore, and that's what we want to help everybody get out of.
Yeah, because everything just evolves once you get there, and once you start getting those rewards where you learn, holy crap, I can make money for myself. As soon as you get that belief, because all of this comes down to belief and mindset.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and that's why it's like, no. Can we focus on the first $100? Because once you do that, you turn that over 500 to 5 times, right? Now you got $500. You're like, holy crap, I can do this.
Yep.
And that's a game changer.
Big time.
So
again,
let's
guys,
get there.
Like, follow, share. Welcome to the independent lifestyle.
Where you go your own way.
Go your own way.
Do your thing.